Welcome back, friends. For today and the next few episodes, Sarah and I are going to take a beginning look. There's by no means we're at the end of this journey. We're at only the beginning of this journey of Pope Leo the 14th. At the time I was pulling information together, it was about the first 100 days. And so we're still in that very new honeymoon phase of this new pontificate. So that's what we're going to take up for now in the next few episodes. A brief biography. Robert Prevost was born in Chicago on a late summer day of September the 14th. And I think the 14th there is going to be pivotal. 1955, right? Is it the Feast of the Holy Cross?
Yes, I think it is the Feast of the Holy Cross. Yes. Yeah, because the next day is Our Lady of Sorrows, right?
Sure. Into a family whose roots stretched from Europe to Latin America. Robert Francis Prevost, that's his birth name, is the son of Louise Marius Prevost of French and Italian descent, and Mildred Martinez of Spanish heritage. He was the youngest of three brothers, growing up with siblings who would later remain close to him throughout his priestly life. From a young age, Bob was steeped in a devout Catholic home. His mother brought the children to daily mass, while his father taught catechism. These rhythms of prayer and service formed him early in discipline, humility, and love for the church. His education carried him to Villanova University, where he earned a Bachelor of Science degree in mathematics in 1977. Yet, alongside mathematics, he developed a curiosity for languages, philosophy, and especially the writings of St. Augustine. Immediately after graduation, he entered the novitiate of the Order of St. Augustine. He made his first profession in 1978 and solemn vows in 1981. He was ordained a priest on June 19, 1982 in Rome. Prevost pursued advanced theological and canonical studies. He earned a licentiate of canon law in 1884 and 1887, defended his doctoral dissertation at the Angelicum. The office, and here's the title of it, and this is a theme that's going to run through his life in the early days now of his pontificate. The office and or authority of the local prior in the Order of St. Augustine, or we might want to use the word synodal, a synodal process. Not long after his first missionary assignment took him to northern Peru, where he served in Chulucanes in Piura. I apologize for that. There he lived with, prayed with, and served some of the poorest and most remote communities. Over more than a decade, he held roles as prior, formation director, seminary professor, judicial vicar, and parish pastor. Later roles built on this foundation. In 2014, Pope Francis appointed him apostolic administrator of Chiclayo. In 2015, he became its bishop, even acquiring Peruvian citizenship during those years. By 2020, he was called to Rome as prefect of the dicastery for bishops, a role that placed him at the heart of episcopal governance worldwide. Finally, on May 8, 2025, he was elected the 267th Bishop of Rome, taking the name Pope Leo XIV. What emerges from his story is a synthesis, an academic mind sharpened by canonical precision, an Augustinian heart molded by missionary and parish life, and a leader forged at the intersection of two hemispheres, His life up to the papacy is both deeply rooted and broadly expansive.
I mean, he does have quite a history to bring to the papacy. You know, very dynamic. A lot of, I think, more pastoral care than we've seen from a lot of the more modern bishops, in the sense that he has been sort of a priest among the people. Maybe knows, at least we could say that he has a good awareness of the temporal needs of the flock in South America and in poorer areas. You know, he certainly lived poverty in a way that the vast majority of people of recent memory who have sat in the office of the chair of Peter have not. You know, he really does have a lived experience of that, which has both a potential for giving him more practicality, but also sometimes I think that there is, unfortunately, coming from that part of the world, there is a real skewed understanding of liberation theology, which unfortunately can kind of creep into the church's understanding of the poor. So that is something that we're have to pray about for him, particularly because the communists have done a very good job, really, and it's kind of frustrating, I think, of usurping the, shall we say, the church's language for the preferential option for the poor. And for them, poverty is only material, whereas really, I think in the modern world, the poorest of the poor right now are those who are suffering from spiritual poverty. And many of them are very, very wealthy.
Exactly right. You touched on, I think, one of the problems that comes with being in this age and with the time frame of formation that Prevost had. One of the challenges is going to be liberation theology. Another one is going to be the seamless garment. And that's just going, that's just right.
I think that those are actually blossoms from the same root.
I think they are. I think they are. Um, so before we get too much ahead of ourselves, because we've got quite a few pages of notes to shimmy through, so we want to give due due diligence here. All right, my friends. We'll pick up with his education dissertation because that's exactly what I wanted to chat about. Till then, Fides et Ratio.